So that means that all of us, God has changed us. Amen? Amen. So he's the perfecter of our faith. But not only that, but we have to learn, if we're going to have a victorious life, we have to learn how to lean on Christ. To lean on Christ. You have to learn how to lean on Christ. Proverbs says, trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not onto your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct your path. You know, we're told two things here. We're told, first of all, to trust in God and not to trust in ourselves.
That's right.
Amen. You know, these two things, he said, in other words, don't trust to your own understanding. Because sometimes our understanding is not really what it is. Y'all agree with me? Because we don't see the whole picture. Only thing we see is what's right here in front of us.
That's right.
What God is saying is, you don't understand. There's some things that God did, and we talked about this, and the Bible said there's some things that God did that really didn't make sense. And I talked about how when God, in terms, tore down the wall of Jericho, what he told them to do was not militarily correct. How in the world are you going to defeat somebody just by walking around the wall? Pray with me. Then how are you going to beat somebody by screaming? You sound like a little girl crying, hollering. Excuse the expression, but anyway. But what I'm saying is, it didn't make sense. It is hard to understand. But God says, I got this. And in your life, God has some things. And he's telling you to do some things that don't make sense. Because with your understanding, this is not the way I ought to be going. What God's saying, we're told, he says, you know, we got to understand that what we have to do is listen to God. Because he knows things better than we do. Amen? You know, Paul writes in Corinthians, he says, we look in a mirror dimly. In other words, we don't see it clearly. There are a lot of things I don't see clear. And yet still, when God tells me to do some things, you know, one of the things I didn't see clear, when he told me to feed 5,000, I'm thinking, God, how am I going to do this? And then he keeps increasing the numbers. I'm saying, God, wait a minute, how are you doing this? But what God is saying, you just don't see clearly. Because what you don't realize is, I want you to get to a point where y'all can sow some seeds and I can give you a greater harvest. Oh my God. I want to give the church a greater harvest, but I cannot give a harvest if you don't plant some seeds. Y'all pray with me. In other words, you need to plant your own seeds.
Amen.
And not live vicariously. We have to understand something, and I shared this with some people this week at Bible study. I'm saying that, you know, the person who reaps the harvest sometimes is not the soil.
That's right.
But it's the one who owns the seed. Because if he owns the seed, he may give it to you to plant it, but he's going to reap the harvest. And sometimes you don't understand some things. There's sometimes the people who we consider bad people, but they keep sowing into the ministry. And you want to know why they keep getting blessed. God can say only saved folk receive a blessing. He said, he who sows. Y'all agree with me? In other words, he who owns the seed. In other words, there are some principles that we have to understand. In other words, what God is saying is, some of y'all saying, well, them devils giving money, but them devils getting blessed. Because they work in the principle, thank you. In other words, what some of y'all don't realize is, y'all are fussing about, they always asking for stuff, and we gotta give stuff. Why we gotta give stuff? We ought to get somebody to do some stuff. God said, look, I want to bless you.
Right.
I can't bless you when you use somebody